¿Qué pasa YouTube? 6fthax here. Have for you guys today a pretty good Uber's Wi-Fi battle I had against Blue Latios, aka Static. I hope you guys don't mind me using the same team and just having another Uber's battle in general. I think at this point you guys should know I don't typically upload with the same team over and over again. So yeah, again, hopefully you guys don't mind. This is a team based around Life Orb, Marshadow, and Choice Bandit Ho-Oh. So of course, if you guys do enjoy the video, make sure to Sub-Zero slam that like button down below. And taking a look at the team preview, Static's team from the build of it is definitely hyper offense. First off, he's got the Cloister. Typically Cloister is a lead with spikes and potentially T-spikes, and then because he has a Fairy in Xerneas and a Dark type in Yveltal, I was pretty positive that was going to be E-Killer Arceus, or it could be like a Stealth Rock variant, and then he could have Double Dance Primal Groudon, but it's more likely that he's got rocks on his Primal Groudon. Either way though, I'm very positive he's going to be leading off with the Cloister, so that's actually why I lead off with my Groudon, because I do have the Rock Tomb on this Primal Groudon. And I want to say thank you to everybody who did leave comments saying that they could offer me a shiny Primal Groudon. Really appreciate it, guys. I actually did get a DM from Sept, a person who I uploaded against a couple days ago, and I'll hopefully be getting one from him. But thank you guys again for being concerned about me not having a Primal Groudon that's shiny, so I will hopefully be able to use that in the future Uber's battle. Either way though, back to this battle. So I do Rock Tomb turn 1. Rock Tomb does lower the speed of the Pokemon hit by 1 point, so that means my Groudon will be able to outspeed it the following turn, which means he can only get up 1 layer of spikes. And thankfully the excuse me, the Salamence on this team does have defog, so this 1 layer of spikes honestly shouldn't even be that big of an issue, as he's gonna bring in his own Primal Groudon. I really don't want to risk him potentially being faster than me and OHKOing me with a Precipice Blade, so I do make the hard switch directly into my Salamence. At the same time though, he could have easily gone for the Stealth Rocks as he does here, which I really don't mind. Like, as long as he doesn't have Stone Edge or he doesn't have the Dragon Claw, then I shouldn't be entirely too worried about this Primal Groudon, because I will be able to just safely go ahead and defog away this layer of spikes and this Stealth Rocks, and hopefully be able to pressure this Groudon with Toxic and Double Edge damage to the point where it can't safely get up rocks again. And then if I'm able to get up my own rocks later in this match, it'll put me in a good advantage. Unfortunately though, he does turn out to have the Stone Edge, but luckily thanks to the Intimidate, it is not going to be a 2 KO. So what I can do this turn is safely go for the Toxic, take a Stone Edge, and then go for my Roost, and then again just try and pressure him and wear him down or just weaken him for the rest of my team. Unfortunately though, he does turn out to have the Sword Zins, and this is actually really bad, because now my Salamence, while I am a bulky set and he is only at +1 thanks to the Intimidate I got off as regular mint, he is still going to be able to cleanly 2 KO my Salamence if I am still part Flying type, which is why I go for the Roost here, thinking that he would try and go straight for the Stone Edge, but he does make the better play in going for the Stealth Rocks, probably thinking that I would switch out or just go for the Roost. And now, because I am at full HP, I can't Roost on his Stone Edge that he is going to obviously go for. So what I'm gonna do is just try to get off as much damage as I can with this Double Edge. He only had about a 50% chance, I believe, to OHKO me from full if he was Adamant Max attack, but by getting off this damage with my Double Edge, thanks to the Toxic, I do put him in range of where Spectral Thief from my Marshadow will be able to cleanly knock him out. Unfortunately though, he does keep up Stealth Rocks, which is a little bit annoying just because I still don't have my rocks up, and I also have a Ho-Oh in the back. But to be fair, Ho-Oh probably wasn't going to be doing entirely too much in this battle, considering that most of his team does outspeed Ho-Oh. So he does end up trying to catch me on the Spectral Thief here by switching into his Arceus. If this was not an Arceus Fairy, which I was very positive that it wasn't, I had no real drawback in going for my close combat here. I mainly expected him to either fodder off the Groudon or try to switch into the Yveltal. Luckily, I am able to pop the Chople Berry on the Arceus, which is really great, because now that means I don't have to worry about it later in this battle. So he's going to switch out here, sacking off his Primal Groudon, obviously not wanting to give me any type of boost to make Marshadow an even bigger threat than it already is, as I'm able to knock out the Primal Groudon. This is really nice because now I no longer have to worry about it, although rocks are still up, and he still has a lot of offensive threats that he can easily bring in. As in comes the Xerneas. The fact that he brought this in directly has me thinking he could be Scarfed, or he may just want to go straight for a Geomancy to try and pressure me early on in this battle. And because I didn't want to risk him potentially being Geomancy with Hidden Power Fire, I actually switched into my Groudon, and as soon as I clicked Groudon, my mind was like, no, you should have brought in Ferrothorn, and he does end up going for the Toxic. I was flip-flopping between Ferrothorn and Groudon, and as I mentioned, it would have been a lot safer for me to bring in Groudon as opposed to Ferrothorn, because again, he could have been Geomancy with Hidden Power Fire potentially, and if he's not Hidden Power Fire, then Ferrothorn still 100% deals with the Xerneas, so I really didn't want to risk that so early on in this battle. Plus, I can still have use for my Ferrothorn later in this game, as I will be able to just fire off a Fire Punch here. He has literally no switch in to a Fire Punch in the Sun, and because I am Adamant Max Attack, I will be able to finish off the Arceus, which is really great because now I no longer have to worry about it potentially Swords Dancing up late game if I lose my Marshadow early on. So speaking of Marshadow, he ends up bringing in his own Marshadow, and thankfully I do have a pretty solid answer to this Marshadow in the form of my Arceus Fairy, as he's going to end up just going for the safe close combat. Does really nothing at all to Arceus Fairy. I think so far Arceus Fairy is probably the main thing that can just kind of like safely switch into Marshadow, and even though he is Life Orb, there's no way Spectral Thief will be able to knock me out at the amount of HP that I am at. And because I'm very positive he is going to want to try and switch out here, I'm going to take this opportunity to get on my Stealth Rocks. This way I can even the playing field, and now he will be taking chip damage along with me taking chip damage every time we switch in and out. So I don't want to just freely give this Xerneas a potential Geomancy. Even though it's got Toxic, I'm thinking at this point it could be either Scarfed or Specs, but still just really didn't want to risk that, so I decided to switch directly into my Ferrothorn. Also, he might have gone for the Toxic, but him going straight for the Moonblast and just being aggressive was probably the better play he could have made, because he still needs to get rid of my Ferrothorn if he is a Geomancy set, which at this point I'm practically convinced he's not. So I will be able to take this opportunity to go for my Leech Seed, expecting him to either switch out into this Yveltal or try to bring in the Marshadow. Either way, they are going to get started to be worn down thanks to the Leech Seed and a little bit of chip damage from the Stealth Rocks. I also have Protect, so I could have got off an extra turn of Leech Seed damage on the Marshadow if he brought it in, but because he brought in Yveltal, I know I can live anything that this thing wants to go for, especially because I am a Spadef bulky Ferrothorn, so I will be able to take this opportunity to go for Lair Spikes, and now I can start getting off even more residual damage on the Xerneas and the Marshadow, making them a whole lot easier for my team to deal with. As even though Oblivion Wing has brought me down below 50%, I think I'm gaining back like 50 HP from every single Leech Seed turn that this Yveltal does stay in. So I really lose nothing in just potentially trying to stay in here and get up all three of my layers. But because I do want to keep Ferrothorn as healthy as possible, I'm just going to go for the Protect here, as he ends up revealing to have the Taunt. And the fact that he has Taunt is actually a little bit scary, because now I can't really wear down this Yveltal as much as I would have liked to. So I don't want to stay in here and take another Oblivion Wing or potentially just get taunted in general. So I'm going to switch into my Ho basically as Death Fodder. Again, Ho was really not doing anything in this battle because the majority of his team outsped it, and he was able to get up Stealth Rock. So Ho was really just in the back, mainly for Death Fodder, as he does obviously get the better end of these switch outs. If for some reason I live, I am just going to go straight for the choice Banded Brave Bird, but he is going to be able to knock me out with the Spectral Thief, which is fine by me because now I just get a safe switch back into my Arceus, which at this point, Arceus can definitely 1v1 this Marshadow, and it can 1v1 the Yveltal. Xerneas is 1v1 by my Ferrothorn, but Ferrothorn can be beat by Yveltal and Marshadow accordingly, so that is something I have to be weary of. And because I expect him to want to switch out here, I'm just going to go for the Recover, but he actually tries to go for the Spectral Thief, maybe thinking he would be able to knock me out, but luckily I'm able to recover back more damage than he does to me. So what I can do here is just safely go for another Recover, or if I really wanted to, could have been aggressive and gone for the Judgment. But by keeping my Arceus at as much HP as possible, I can guarantee that the Marshadow should not be a problem whatsoever. So I do decide to recover up here as he brings in the Xerneas, and I thought that this turn he was going to predict me to try to bring in my Ferrothorn and potentially reveal the hidden power fire if he had it. But him just going straight for the Moonblast is still a really solid play on his part. Typically, Xerneas can just wear down Mons accordingly because Moonblast does more than enough damage. As it turns out that after Rocks and after the Toxic damage, along with his Moonblast damage, I will unfortunately not be able to take 2, which is slightly annoying. I was really hoping that even if he did Moonblast, Groudon would have been able to take 2, but that is just foolish thinking on my part for underestimating the power of Xerneas, and because I can still save my Groudon for Death Fodder to sack off to the Yveltal or sack off to the Marshadow, I'm just going to switch back into my Ferrothorn here, which should still be able to live 2 or 3 Moonblasts without really any problem. As luckily it's not doing entirely too much damage to me, so what I can do this following turn is potentially go for the Leech Seed or try and go for the Gyro Ball. And ultimately, Leech Seeding I felt was by far my better play, just for the fact that I would have been able to just get off some more residual damage on the incoming Yveltal or the incoming Marshadow as well, and then I can also still recover HP against the Xerneas, but unfortunately I miss Leech Seed, and then ultimately I just decide to be aggressive here and go for the Gyro Ball, because if he does want to be aggressive himself and stay in, then I'm going to be able to knock him out, or I'm going to be able to knock out whatever potentially comes in, because Gyro Ball is still going to be doing a good amount of damage to the Yveltal and a good amount of damage to the Marshadow as well. So thankfully Ferrothorn is able to put in a decent bit of work in this battle as it takes down the Xerneas. In comes the Yveltal. I'm just going to sack off Ferrothorn at this point. I really don't need it. Along with Groudon, these 2 mons are really expendable, because now with him losing his Xerneas, my Arceus Fairy can just come in here and I just click Fairy type Judgment, and because this Yveltal is Life Orb and not Scarfed, there's no way he outspeeds my Arceus, and because Arceus is close to full HP after Stealth Rocks, I will be able to still live any one hit from the Marshadow if it is able to outspeed me, which it should be if he is running a Jolly Max Speed set. So I will be able to knock out the Yveltal here with the Judgment, and at this point the Marshadow is his last Mon, which again is not able to outspeed my Arceus unless he was Scarfed, which he isn't, he's Life Orb, so yeah, that is going to be the victory in my favor. I apologize if there was a little bit of a lag there at the end. Guess my computer kind of spazzed out during recording this. But hey, either way though, hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. And if you did, make sure to Sub-Zero slam that like button down below. We'll hopefully have for you guys another Wi-Fi battle up tomorrow. And if I can find the time, definitely going to do a Showdown live, because I just really want to upload Showdown lives more in general. So yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy, and if you did, you know what to do. With that being said, I'll see you all tomorrow. Later, everybody.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in a knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion. But when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears, or hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.